Hello everyone, it's Jules by Jude, and in my last video I showed you how to make some resin coasters and promised a little surprise the next video, but guess what? It did not work out. I ruined a mold and I'm currently waiting for the other one to come in so I can do the video, but we will be doing it. So let me show you what I've been up to since then, besides a number of other things. I have a bracelet I made, and I want to show you how I did that. Of course, I used this little piece here, as you can see, to brace my clay and bake it. Came out like this. As the edges here, and this is just the clay itself, and I also use some UV gel nail polish to put a little bit of a polish on there for me. Okay, 2 pieces of clay. It's not completely polished yet, but it will be. Sorry for that. I don't think you can tell pretty much. Now what I'm anticipating is the clasp here. But I wanted to show you how I got this far, okay? This here is a little blue pendant that I used my scrap clay for as a testing, and I wanted to test my theories, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a second here. I went to an estate sales this weekend, and I was looking at some plates, and I thought to myself, man, that would look great with as a texture for polymer clay. So I bought them. They were $1 a piece, and they were just odd crystal and odd glass plates. But they have a texture on them, as you can see here. This is stars and buttons, sometimes they call. Really, they just stars. So we're going to test that out a little bit later. Okay, and I just want to show you these plates now, and later in the video you will see how I make some of my pendants. This one here is a platter. It also has on it some texture, as you can see. And I would like to show you that this is where the bracelet was made from. It was sort of right down the section of the centerpiece. And if you look closely at the sides, you'll see where the little diamond impression came out of here and here on the ends. Okay, what I look forward to using this platter for in the future is maybe a whole textured piece like this, diamond. You might be able to find some texture plates with some pattern that is very similar to this. But I was also looking at the star, and I would imagine there are some that you could find that are very similar. I'm looking at this section here. It's kind of fun just to imagine what you might be able to make out of it. And that's what I saw when I was buying these plates. This one was $2. Most of them were $1. I'm going to try to put these down without making too much noise, because I know what it sounds like on the video, pretty crazy. This one was $1. And it might be lead crystal or it might be glass, I'm not sure. But the back of it, the bottom of it, is very textured, very deeply here, as a lot of cut glass is. And it has a lot of different designs in it. And I really look forward to, and I've already put some clay in that. No, that's the $1. I thought I put some clay in that. There's different patterns in this. There's a star here. There's a little bit of a star here. This goes deep in. So even the edges have something you might be able to play with. So it's kind of fun to look at. This is a huge heart if you wanted to do that, or at least try it. This I think would be a little bit on the thicker side for your clay, and all of them would be treated like veneer with the backing, and I'll show you that. This one here is very interesting. I hadn't seen a bowl. This was $2. And I don't know if it's crystal or not. It's insignificant. It's only the design and the price I'm looking after here. But this has a heart. I hope you can see that in the video. I'm going to turn on the sides of it. This is a heart here. A full heart. Now that's pretty large. I don't know if someone would want to wear a pendant that large, but if you were going to make a medallion or some type of hanging piece, or a piece to go on a journal even, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I see all that. The bottom, really nice. It would make a nice design as well. Keep in mind that, like I said, this is pretty deep here. So, you know, if you wanted just a portion of it, that's where you would place your clay, around the portion of it, either around this edge or, you know. And this has a nice star on it as well. And it's very sharply cut, very deep. You know, so that would be pretty easy. This one here has an unusual pattern as well. We'll try a couple of these in a video in a few minutes. This one here is actually a piece that I had been working on and that I used. I might put some mica on it just to give you an idea. I did put this, and like I said, I consider it a veneer on the back. And it's a little wobbly. I'll need to straighten it, as you can see, before I cook it. Bake it. Cook it. This one here has, I wish I had found more than one of these. I really like these in this glass. I don't know about these straight lines here. I'm not sure that would make, you know, just a regular design really. But the center part, I mean, it's footed, so you'll have to work around the feet. But interesting. Give it a shot. I'm not going to do something with every one of these right now. I'm just going to do a couple pieces. As you saw, the one little pendant that I had there. So I'm just shooting out some ideas for you. This was interesting to me because it has a rose here and a leaf here. And this one was $1. And it's a good thing because I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to use this, because maybe if it was flat, maybe, but you know, I bought it because of the leaves, to be honest with you. So I might try to do something with these leaves. We'll see. The roses would be hard. They seem to come together pretty closely, and I think that's the part that would be, it's now that I look at it, it's a little strange and unusual to have a leaf sticking out of a rose like that upside down. I mean, they're large leaves. It doesn't look like goes with the pattern. So anyhow, we'll see. Let's see what else I got here. A couple more. I like this one. This one is this. I already tried this, and like I said, this is my scrap clay. So it's not really necessarily going to be made into a pendant like this. It was a trial piece just to see how the clay reacts to this type of texture. Some of them I did find that if you're not careful, you're not going to pick up the full texture, but that's with any stamp, any texture plate. You still need to make sure your clay is firmly planted into it to make the proper impression. But this one came out pretty good. Not bad. Okay. Now this I had high hopes for. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I was excited about this one. It's a fish. I'm not completely over it yet. I'm looking at it, and of course, like a lot of them, that has the top portion of the plate it's a snack tray, as many of them are. Okay, so I have a little area here where the cup goes and such, and this is has an impression on it that I don't know if you can use that or not, to be honest with you. I was excited about the back. The back has fins, or scales. I'm sorry, scales. The back has the scales. And the first thing I thought of was, gee, if I had a mermaid tail cutter and this type of texture, that would be great. So I did put the clay on it. I did do some moving around with some of this stuff, and this sadly has an impression right here and here, and it goes around the center of where the scales are, and it's too much of an impression that the clay picks it up, and it won't look right, sadly. So this guy was a big disappointment, to say the least. So, like I said, I don't pay a lot for these. It's interesting and creative to think of them as texture plates, even though they're just regular plates for everyone else. So I'm going to cut the video here, and then I'm going to put a couple of these down and show you exactly how something like this can come and into a pendant or a bracelet or something like that. Useful, that you can use maybe on a journal or some other type of polymer clay project. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay. So we're going to take a piece of clay. I've decided that we're going to start with the platter. And I only want the starburst in this one instead of what I did previously with the bracelet. I'm going to just do the center and use a cutter to cut out the portion that I'd like to have on my project. I like to start with these, I noticed, in the center of the piece. And mostly want to make sure that the air bubbles have escaped. And that is why I start from the center and push out. Now I want to push firmly enough make my impression deep enough, yet not too much, because then I won't have, it'll stick into the center. And I've cleaned the plate off very thoroughly before I put my clay on, which might be an important thing for you to do. I'm not going to completely get this starburst. I only want that center piece anyway. It's got to be big enough for a pendant and not too big as well. And again, I look at this as being a veneer anyway. I'm going to put a backing on it. And it's going to be the back. Hopefully this will come out perfectly, as always does. Alright, so that's what I have. It's picked up a little bit of a faint line, which may happen in this, but pretty sure it's not going to affect it. So now I'm going to put this down on top of my backing, like so. before I do anything else. There we go. Now I've started using paper because I saw it in a book that I have somewhere, and they use it in the oven, but I do not. So I started using it on the paper though, for the same reasons described in the instruction pamphlet I was reading. Now I'm just smoothing out some imperfections. I want to get it placed down fairly well. Oh, that's not a line. That's part of the clay. I apologize. I was thinking that was a line. This is part of the clay, this distinguished color between here and there. I don't know what I'm thinking. But anyway, that's what that is. I see it now. This is scrap clay I'm using. So I did blend it together a little bit. And I have a teardrop cutter I just want to see. Especially now that I see that, I don't want anybody to think that it's a line. Oh, that looks pretty. Let me see. Let me see. I like that. So I'm going to press down. Don't want to ruin my impression. And there we go. Voila. Now hopefully, oh, look at that. It worked. There we go. Now I'm going to take those two pieces and I can reuse those as well. This is what the sides look like. I have that piece right there from the inner edge of my metal. I like to use the plastic ones much better, but that looks pretty nice. Doesn't look like you're going to have to do too many sandings on that. So I'll place that over there. And we will get prepared for the next one. Okay. Let's do the bowl next. And this is the bowl. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try to capture this heart right here onto a piece of clay. Alright, now I have a couple of pendants unfinished but baked, and they are from the heart. So important to realize is that the heart is too big for a pendant size, or at least one that I'm willing to do. So some of these clays are just going to be the back of the pendant. Get some of that stuff out of the way. So I just placed this scrap piece of clay. It's most likely going to be a combination of Sculpey, Primo, that kind of thing. Because it's scrap, I'm not really sure what's in it. But it's rolled out on my very thickest because this is a very deep cut piece of glass. And I want to get a really good impression. So I'm going to use a thicker piece of clay. Keeping in mind, we're just experimenting to see if this would be a good texture plate, quote unquote, for our polymer clay. So you can get air bubbles doing this, and this is going to be curved so that when I remove it, it's going to not look exactly like it would if it was a flat texture plate or plate cut glass. So keep that in mind. I gotta turn this up a little bit towards me so that I can finish this off. But this is Basically, the same thing as I was doing, only was facing away from me. Now it's facing towards me so I can see a little better, okay? Camera is in front of me, not behind me, so it's a little bit more difficult for me to give you a shot of what I'm doing right now, but it is indeed the same thing. When I'm happy and I think I have my texture impression on my clay, I'm just going to do this. Alright. That's what we got. So I want a silverback, a grayish, silverish. So what I'm going to do right now before I put it on there is cut off and cut away some of this, and I'll show you how and why I'm doing it this way in 1 second. Just hit it there a little bit to polish it, push it down. It's back. Alright, there we go. Now we're talking. Alright. Now, if I were doing, some of this is flat here, I'm not really worried about it, and in fact I'm going to burnish it with another piece of paper on top of it, like so. In fact, I might use this. I'm not going to push very hard, but this is doing two things. It's flattening the impression down for me a little bit, and it's also hopefully joining together those two front and back sheets of clay. I want to do just a little bit more over here, and then I'm going to choose my cutter. And previously I chose this cutter and a paisley cutter for this. So I'm going to give it another look-see. I personally like this feathered look here, but it seems like the center came out better than it did in the past, so I might use an entirely different one. I think that these cutters came from a lady named, dang it, I cannot think of her name. Anyhow, it's clayed it down under or something like that. These here, these cutters here. Interesting, isn't it? Let me see what it looks like this way. Go down lower and grab more of the feathered. Yeah, I think I might do that. All right. Interesting, isn't it? Let's see here. Proportionately. Well, I'm committed now, aren't I? Oh my goodness. I'm going to gently press that back out just as quickly as we got it in there. I hope I did it right. Yes, came out good. Now we have another unique piece. I like that. I like that one. There you go. Alright. I want to show you some pieces that I completed using these techniques. A little bit different. Get over there, fishy. There you go. These were all made by cut glass that I found at an estate sale, and a yard sale, or in my cupboard that I used to make impressions on and pendants from. This is Jules by Jude. I hope you guys catch up with me. I'm planning on doing that resin pyramid for you. I did just get the molds today, and we'll go over what the issues were with that. I hope you have a blessed day. Hope everybody is well. God bless. See you soon.